Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Speed Talk. This is episode 18. Tonight, we're joined by Darwyn Karau, and this episode is brought to you by Broadway Car Care out of Rochester, Minnesota. Darwyn, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. How you been?
We've been real
Been
good.
good. Ready to get the race season underway. I was hoping last week we would at least got Saturday in, but Mother Nature had other plans. But I see you've been
Uh,
doing some racing already this year.
yeah, I don't know about racing, but I'm getting there. We'll just trying to get a little speed back. Its car's pretty rough right now, but driver's probably worse.
Are you in is that the
So
same car as
you
last
went
year?
down to Lucas Oil. How
Yep.
did what'd you think of that? Have you been down there before?
Yeah, I've been down there before. The track's pretty hard to get a hold of it. Actually, it's pretty slippery to get around of, but my car was out to lunch on that deal, so it's all right. We had fun though.
Hey, if you had fun, it makes the trip worth it. You didn't tear anything up though, did you?
No, no, quarter panel, big deal.
Even better.
That's a
Even
weekly
better.
thing. I went to practice with no wrap on, and I came off. I'm like, "Are you shitting me?" I ran around the bottom, and I still scraped up the right rear quarter panel somehow on the back stretch.
You're going too fast, man.
I don't know if I'm fast or just stupid,
Nah, nah, you're good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys
but
looking forward to going out this weekend?
shit, if the rain will stop. It looks like Friday's gonna be a wash, but Saturday looks pretty nice. I was looking at the forecast. Looks like it's gonna be like 60s pretty much all night. So I mean, I knock on wood, but I think Deer Creek should raise,
Good. Be looking forward to you guys going fast again.
right? So how
Amen.
uh
Amen.
how was your off season, Darwin? Was there any big chassis changes or anything going on in the shop with you?
Yeah, we tore the whole car apart and redid everything on it. It wasn't really that good last year. Got a little better at the end. Put a lot of new stuff in it, and it was really at Lucas Oil. I thought it'd be better, and it was really bad. So and then we went down to Webster City. Um, didn't qualify well. Car was pretty bad still. Changed all the shocks, springs, and stuff. It was better for the B, and we made the A. Got some laps in, so it's getting better.
Good.
What
Do
do you
you do?
feel what do you from like the driver's seat, what do you feel like maybe it's lacking right now, like that it needs?
Well, right now, I think we're trying to get the traction back. It was carrying the front end way too much. So now we got the front end down, back end back up, and now we're just trying to get a little traction back and do it again now. So, you know,
No,
Perfect. Yeah,
when
you had it. I remember.
oh, go ahead, buddy.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I'm interrupting you.
Nope. All good.
What how long you had this car, Darwin? This one you're racing now. How long's it been since you built that in the jig?
this is only a year old, so it
Oh,
was new last year.
gotcha.
Yeah, I kind of got back into a pole bar again. I was on a lift bar for 3 years. I liked it, but they're hard to get tractioned up when the tracks are slippery. So back on a
Sure.
pole bar again and just trying to get back in that again.
Sure.
Isn't that funny how you can bounce back and forth between the two, and like you can like the drivability of the lift bar, but it's like you put the pull bar back in and there's the traction off the corner you were missing. I don't know what it is about those things, but it just seems like it's night and day.
Yeah, it is a big difference. I really like the way that, like you said, the lip bar corner is so nice. It's just smooth all the way through, but
Mhm.
it's nice momentum. If you can keep a truck in and the back end up, you're fast. But on the
Mhm.
restarts, it's just hard to keep up. You'll lose a car, and you don't get that back for easy.
Or
Right.
someone cuts across your nose, or you can't get in just perfect. It's like you kill that momentum for one lap, and it
Yep,
takes you a lap or two laps to get right back on the guy, or just get your speed back under you, for
yep. And
sure.
everybody's fast now, so if once you lose it, if you'd be lucky to get it back if you do. And it's just I don't know. I'm getting older, it's fun. I have a good time with it. I really enjoy racing with all you guys and try not to be in the way, but I try to keep up and stay in the same lap and just have a good time. I mean, been doing this for 36 years now, I suppose, and I just love the sport. I enjoy doing it. It's enjoyable to watch all you young guys come up and be fast and just clean racing and just I enjoy it. So
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you, Darwin, what keeps you, I don't want to say building your own stuff, but there's got to be some nights where it gets frustrating and you don't necessarily have a ton of people to bounce ideas off of, not people running your chassis. Um, just what kind of keeps you motivated to keep building your own stuff?
it gives me something to do in the winter when I'm sitting on my ass not watching TV, I guess. I don't know. It's like a challenge. It's always mentally a challenge to keep up and try to figure your own stuff out. And I've only had one built car, and that was a Willie Craft car in '04. and I had that. It was pretty cool and it was fun. But I don't know. I just the challenge of it, I guess. I mean, I probably would be. I can't tell you. If I bought a name brand chassis, I maybe be a little more consistent. Out of the box, you'd be quicker because you'd have a setup to go with. But I don't know. I mean, look at it too. I mean, age and everything's a factor. I mean, all these things, reaction time's a little slower, things like that. I'm never going to be, popping out feature wins, stuff like that. It's just like I said, I just want to be
Yeah.
competitive, have a good time.
Sure.
So,
All right.
So you mentioned 36 years, Darwin. Where, for people that don't know you, and I know locally you're very well known, where did you get your start or cut your teeth racing? Like, can you take us back, I guess, to the in the history of Darwin Crew? How did you get your start, or where?
uh,
Just give us kind of a recap, I guess.
actually, I lived in Rochester by a gentleman named Darrell Zweifel. I was like a block from his house. And he was running like the Camaro late models back in the day. So 88, 87, 86. I thought, hey, that's really cool. Shit, I was 22 years old and I thought this is neat. So I started pitting with him and going racing with him and changing gears and all that stuff. And I was with him, I don't know, 5, 8 years or something like that. And it was a good time. And I thought, well, this is easy. I can do this. And yeah, I found out it was a little tougher to do than than to pit for. So, spent a lot of years going the wrong direction and thinking, wow, this is tough deal. But back then it was, Leroy Sharkey, Daryl Zweifel, Donnie Zweifel, Saturdahl and Dick Sorensen, Mark Noble, Dave Noble, stuff like that back in the day. Um, it was just fun then, a lot different kind of racing when Wasota was just coming out and pretty flat cars. You drag waste down the straightaway and putt through the corner. So a little different back then.
That's a that's kind of a question I guess I've had for Darwin. I don't want to say you older guys, but guys that have been racing, that have really seen, like I said, you've been racing 35 years. You've
Yeah.
really seen a change in, how modifieds drive and how we corner. What was kind of that difference like, going from, I think of like when my dad raced, they kind of come into the corner, like you said, the cars are flat, you kind of
Yep.
slide in, you drag race. Like nowadays, everything's so momentum, we corner so fast, the ass ends up on the left rear. Just what's that change been like, constantly adjusting to maybe the style of driving over the last 35 years?
For me, it's always I probably still am stuck with the flying down the straightaway and hitting the brake and turning in because I don't know it's what you did for 30 years, and trying to get used to just turning in, hammering the gas when there's a big cushion. I love it. When I go as fast as I can, I never have lift. Good time. When it's
Yeah.
slippery, I haven't got that figured out. It feels like holy shit, I got to stop. I got to turn. Then I'm spinning the tires. I'm like, wow, I suck at this. So I don't know. It's definitely different, but I'm trying to get used to it. I was down at Webster, and when I did it right and I didn't lift and I was on the gas going through a corner, I thought, wow, this is pretty good. I'm doing all right. Then a couple laps later, I thought, oh, I should hit the brake once, and then the thing would plow like a truck. I'm like, what are you doing, dumbass? Quit doing that shit. So, but
Uh,
yeah, it's different.
Yeah, just
did
trying
you
to get
ever
in that.
when you started?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you ever have any leaf spring cars, Darwin? Like real, I mean, really flat leaf spring cars that could just pound through the holes, or were you always on like I guess like a floating rear suspension type car?
No, my first car, my first modified was actually a leaf spring car. I got it from Donnie's Weefel. And that thing had like a 1,500 pound right front in it, and that thing would float right through the bumps pretty good with leaf springs in it. And I thought, oh, that's cool. And then I got, I think I built a car. And then when I got my first car from Craft, that was a reversity on the right and a 4 bar on the left. And that was pretty cool to drive. And of course, then, Staley started showing up on the scene and we got away from the 3 link and then everything was 4 link and coilovers. And it was quite a change, back then. And then we just kind of did it. I mean, it was different.
So what was the first year you'd built your own car, or had you always built like from the
I've always
start?
built my own car. My first street stock was my own car. Did both of them. And then my first modified, I bought that from Donnie's Weefel. After that, I built a coil car and ran that. I seen a couple Mike Sorensen cars back in the day, and I thought, oh, I can build that. I kind of jigged it off of that thing, because I seen a couple of them, and then like I said, when I got in '04 when I got my first craft car. It was pretty cool, and I raced it for a couple of years, and then he kind of went away. So then I kind of copied what he was doing a little bit, changed some stuff on it, different front end. I don't know. My ideas are always a lot of everybody's car. It's like a little of an LG and a little bit of a rocket, and a little bit of Mars, and they all have really good ideas, and I
Mhm.
just kind of mix and match them up a little bit.
So Darwin, I wanted to ask you, we had Brandon Davis on here, I don't know, last June or whatever, and we got talking about, obviously Brandon builds his own cars like you. Um, we got talking about the possibility of the new rules, that tubular front end. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
Yeah.
Brandon touched on a little bit of that. What would your thoughts be on that if, USRA did start to allow that tubular front end?
I truly believe it would be an easier front end for them to, I don't know, test and keep in the rules because if you use square tubing, it's pretty easy to put a jig underneath there and make sure nothing's moved and everything's straight. With the AFCO stuff and like that, we're really manipulating the front ends and moving them around a little bit. I mean, they have rules, but I don't know. We're all pushing them as much as we can. Um, I don't know if it's a bad thing. It's getting harder to find some of the clips. You can always go with the AFCO stuff, but I think it wouldn't hurt, but I don't know. I mean, what's really stock on our modifieds anymore? The front clip is kind of the worst part we have in there. So I guess it wouldn't bother me. But you're really getting pushing into the late model stuff now.
Sure.
So I don't know. We'll see if they do it.
If that's the case, is that something you would dig into and build
Oh,
one?
I'd do it. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have a late model again. All that tire and all them brakes are kind of cool. But I would. Yeah, I'd put one on it. I wouldn't care. I mean, it's I don't know. And we looked at the house stuff quite a bit. They were pretty nice front ends and stuff like that. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't think it's a bad deal, I guess, but
Sure.
I don't know. Does it cost more? Every time a sanctioning body does something like that, it's about money in their pocket or making a buck with somebody. And they say it's easier, but it really comes down to dollars and cents for the promoters and them guys.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Great.
We'll see if they do it.
Yeah, because I don't know how you would yeah, I guess I don't know if that would just be something that you allow and then, 5 years from now, are they going to take away the stock stub again? Is it going to be all tubular? Like, where does that come into play down the road? Because you're going to have guys, driving 10-year-old race cars that are like, oh shit, now my 10-year-old race car is illegal. I got to put a new front end on it.
Yep. We didn't remember when Staley came in and we were running soda stuff. It was just a three-link car, nothing cool about it. Um, Frame all the way to the center around. And then he came in and got us into the coilover stuff. And I remember him saying, "Well, you don't have to do it. I'm not making you do it."
Right.
But it's like, well, you kind of are because we can't keep up with the
Correct.
old stuff versus the new stuff.
Right.
I think we'll be back into that again. I think it'll be painful if they do it. It'll be hard for the first year or so for most guys, but once they do it, they'll just get used to it. And I mean, us racers are dumb. We just spend as much money as we can because we don't really care. It's not
Right.
about the money. We're just like, we bitch about it, but we still do it.
We're all trying to just chase to go a little bit faster. Any
Oh
way you
yeah,
look at it.
yeah. The faster the better, right? It's always more
Right.
fun.
Right.
Exactly.
But no, there's another one I had on here, Darwin. Like I said, you talked about you've raced almost 35, 36 years now. Is there a track that you raced at over those 35 years, that's maybe not around now that you enjoyed racing at back in the day?
Well, Caston's always my favorite because it was right
Sure.
next to my house, and it was always fun. But I guess Lansing now we're not racing there. Them are my two favorite tracks because it wasn't about ultimate speed. I mean, you could race somebody. It was more of a driver's racetrack where you were just setting the guy up,
Mhm.
and everything was always pretty close. So you could always get it's where you got underneath them or where you got behind them or it's just stuff like that, where versus Mississippi Thunder, Mason City, stuff like that. Once you get trucking on the top, it's kind of a single file deal. You can kind of set some stuff up if your car's working good and run the bottom when the track comes in different. But I still like the smaller tracks, I guess. I think they're a little more fun for me. It kind of evens out everybody's equal a little more, I think.
Hmm.
But
I saw,
that's it.
did I hear, maybe this is a rumor. Is Caston having a little bit more of a schedule this year outside of the fair race? Or is
I
there any
haven't heard
truth to that?
anybody doing anything with it. Last time I heard was Wetstein was talking about running a fair
Yeah.
race, so I don't know a lot
That's
about
what
it.
I heard.
Nobody's,
Okay.
I've
That's what I
heard
heard.
that West Signs one, the Fair Board wants to run more nights, but they're limited because of the town around it, basically, their time limit.
right.
I would
'Cause
love to go support that at least once or twice if they had like 5 or 6 races. I would love to go and race at Caston because I think it's been shit.
since
It's probably been
20
it's like
2015,
10 years,
Yeah.
yeah, 9 or 10 years since
you
I've
drove my
raced.
old victory car when I had a broken leg. He drove my race car when I
Well,
was
and
in
we
my
were
cast.
running from the bottom, and then I was like, I can't pass you on the bottom, so I'm like going to the top. It's,
Yeah.
oh, it's just a fun. Would you call casting a bull ring, or
Oh
was
yeah.
it a little more than that?
Yeah, I would say both Lansing and Caston are about the same. Caston's a little flatter, Lansing's a little more banked, but I guess I would call them a bull ring because I don't know, it's still plenty fast, but it's tighter racing, you know.
I feel
So
like Casson. I feel like Casson races a little bit more round than Lansing.
That's like
yes, it's
Casson.
got more round corners. That's why I always thought it was fun to go down to like Humboldt because Humboldt was a lot like Caston on one end and Lansing on the other.
Hmm.
So, it was still fun.
The
You
best
gotta
of both
pinch the
worlds.
car into the corner on one end, and you can kind of let her rip on the other.
Yep. Yeah, you go down to Caston, you go around the wall and if you feel like it down in three and four, even one and
Hmm.
two, but now Caston's really you got to come off the bottom with four pretty good because the top's kind of gone. One and two you can go wherever you want, so it's kind of fun.
I think that would
I
be a
saw one of
really,
the best USMTS races I've ever watched with my own eyes at Caston. John Tesh,
yep,
Ryan Gustin, and Steve Wetstein. It
Yeah.
was, and I think that's the night that Tesh came from like Fort, came from
20.
a beat,
It was, yeah.
started seventh row, and just excuse my like fucking railed the
Yeah.
top all over, just cranking on it. That's one guy I miss watching race a modified because he was just Mr. Cool, collected, but when he got in a race car, he would drive the shit out of it. I
Yeah.
wish he would hop back in an open wheel mod and just race, like show up at the fall jamboree or something with the old 14. I
Oh
miss
yeah.
watching him race.
I
Yeah,
just
he was
wish,
always
Full of a nice
he was
guy
just
too. He was a top tier guy for sure.
yep, always. It was like he like I said, you miss him around because back then that's like a lot of things. Like the USMTS has really changed a lot. Back then you had 15 to 20 really good drivers. I mean, any one of those guys could win, and they'd always put a good show on. I mean, it's changed a lot now. Now you probably got four of the old guys left, and now you're racing your local guys a lot now. But there's so much talent that's come up in the young ranks now that it's just they're all fast. You know.
That's what I love about like Deer Creek or Fountain City when USMTS comes to town. I mean, how often does a weekly runner win the show? Whether
Yeah,
that's Lucas Shot. I mean, I know Jim won the championship, but Jim, Lucas
Brandon,
Shot, Brandon, Jake Tim,
Joe.
Joe. I'm missing a few others, but like
yeah,
that run up front, and it's like it's a good. How many weekly races at Deer Creek could be a USMTS show when you really think
Every
about it? I
Saturday,
mean,
damn
every
near.
Saturday, it's like we are so spoiled with the talent and the drivers and just everything we have around us between the tracks, the surface, promoters, everything around us, and in a 50-mile radius for talent. It's just we're truly, yeah, we're pretty spoiled with who we have around us,
I mean,
and
and
just
that
get to
makes it nice. When you race up here, you're racing really the best around. I mean, and when you go down south and stuff, there's good talent there, but a lot of times the guys from down here go down up here, go down there, and they run well, if not win.
Right.
They're just
Mhm.
so talented up here. Like I said, you get to race a lot and great equipment, great tracks, and they're just good.
I think that's sometimes, um, I think as a driver, it definitely makes us all better, but it also it's frustrating some nights. Like there's nights you go out there and you get 11th place and you felt like you were just driving the shit out of the thing. Your car was pretty good. Heck, there's nights, you win a heat race and then all of a sudden you draw 11 and you're just stuck. And it's like, there's 10 good guys ahead of me and it's frustrating,
Mhm.
but it also makes it that much rewarding when you do put together a good night because, I mean, you really earned it. Like there's some places I look at results that I'm like, holy crap, this guy took third place, and it's like this guy's lap traffic when when he comes and runs up here.
Yeah.
So definitely
That's,
makes it a little bit more rewarding, I'd say.
yeah. What about you guys? What do you got in the books? Just gonna run Mississippi Thunder and Deer Creek, or you got travel a little bit, or what are you thinking?
Zach and I are gonna do that Northern Lights series, I think is our plan. We did we did a little bit of the points racing last year. I mean I missed some nights with I didn't have an engine in the car, but Zach we tried to run points with, which was actually a lot of fun. He ended up third at Deer Creek and I think third or fourth at Fountain City.
Mhm.
But the points thing is kind of fun just to, when you can stay consistent. I mean, if you have some bad nights here and there and you drop back, it's like, okay, let's take a night off, regroup and stuff. But I like the that Northern Lights series looks pretty appealing just with the number of shows, the different tracks. They're going to hit Cresco, Decorah, Mason City, Fountain. I think there was talks of doing potentially Alexandria, which I've never been to, and
Okay.
Granite City, which would be cool. I don't know. I have no idea what size track Granite City is, but I know Brandon, I think went up there last year, had a good
Yep.
run.
Even for
And
the
Alexandria is a
later
big
year
track,
race.
so that would be a fun one to just kind of check off the list, just because I think it's Wastota. Um,
Right.
so yeah, that's our plan, and then we'll be at Fountain City and Deer Creek a lot of nights too. Um, I don't know. I'll probably have to take a night or two off here and there just with um our newborn at home and just getting a break there. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Northern Lights series is gonna be fun. Looking forward to that.
I don't know if you
Nice.
heard, Darwin. They're having a USRA race at Jackson Motorplex. I don't know if you heard that or not.
I did not hear that. No.
Yeah, I would like to go run that deal.
Yeah.
I would
Parker
too.
Anderson, one of our buddies that's usually on here, he's from over that way, and yeah, they're having a USRA race in all USRA classes. I think July, I think he said, but that's one that I definitely want to go try to hit. I've never been there. Last time I think I saw the place, I think it was still a half mile, and it was before they cut it down, but I think that'd be a fun one to go hit.
Yeah. It's nice to travel to do stuff you haven't done because you don't know nothing about it. No, you have no expectations. Just go out there and have a good time.
Right.
So that's cool.
No,
What
but
about you? Are you gonna do any more? Are you gonna do any traveling or just Deer
I
Creek?
am going to run the whole Northern Lights series. I'm going to run Mason City every week and Fountain City every week.
nice.
I
Nice.
got about 44 shows, I think, right now, planned right now.
Shit.
And
Awesome.
then whatever else
Nice.
pops up on the Northern Lights, I'll run all that. So,
No, I think that Northern Lights deal is gonna get I think that's gonna be a pretty good deal and get a good following, I'm hoping, because like you said, it's not quite like, doing the USMTS tour. It's local enough where a guy can, go run it for the weekend or whatever and not be, 500 miles from home or whatever. But I think that's gonna be a pretty good deal.
Think you
yeah,
still get the
I hope so.
competition too with that because a lot
Yeah.
of the nights the USMTS doesn't race. They don't overlap, so you'll still get some of those guys like Joe and Jim and
I think it's
Sander.
gonna I think it's gonna be cool because I think you're gonna see some of them with soda guys like them Sabraskis and like your Landon Atkinsons and them type guys. I think you're gonna start seeing them, um, maybe running some of that deal. And I think that'd be kind of cool to see some of them with soda guys come run with it.
Yeah, it would be a pretty cool traveling deal. If you could get like a solid 30 guys in that deal to travel that, or 20 to 30, that'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
You know.
I like how there's breaks in between like the weeks. It's not like you have to go every single week and race it. Like you could get a couple off weeks to regroup, keep your stuff fresh, go
Yeah,
through the car, and then just go. And then yeah, I like that. I'm excited to go to Cresco.
I was just gonna say, yeah,
If there's
Cresco.
one night I don't want to rain out, it's at Cresco show.
yeah,
I haven't raced at Cresco in years, and I know they have quite the limited schedule. And I don't remember the last time. Well, maybe they had modifieds there last
They
year.
haven't
Maybe
had
Two
modifieds.
years ago, 2 years
2 years
ago they had
ago.
them.
Yeah, so it'd be, but they only had three of them. I think it was like
Yeah, they had
Rodney,
it,
Alex Williamson, and
Rodney,
someone.
Schlangen and his B mod.
Yeah, so they need a place like that, and how cool like the grandstands are. They need to pack stands, and we need like 25, 30 mods would be
yeah.
awesome. If we could show up and have a full field, if not a B main of modifieds.
That'd be
That
awesome.
would be
That would be
awesome.
cool.
Because we go to Cresco every year for the fair race, and it is packed every year. There might only be 35 race cars in the pits,
We
but it's packed every year.
get about 12 cars each class, but
Yep.
the stands are always full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Cresco Fair is, I wish they'd get more cars, but it pays pretty well. Like same with Casson. Like I remember that night at Casson, I think the B mods paid like 750 to win and the mods was like 1200 or 50. Do you remember what
Yeah.
was it, Corb?
I think the mods last year at Casson were 1200,
Yeah.
and I think the B mods, yeah, were 700.
Yeah. So them fair races are always kind of fun.
In Decorah too, I know they reconfigured the track a little bit. Was it last year? But now they got a wall up. I saw some pictures and it just looks, again, never drove a mod at Decorah or Cresco. So those are like two tracks I hope we get a 75, 80-degree day with sunshine and blue skies and just have a good night. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. That tour is just, it's going to be fun, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I hope it gets a good enough following where it's not just a one and done, one season deal. Hopefully it gets a good following and they can keep doing it.
Yeah,
Look at
I
that
agree.
American Racer, or is it that Arms? Yeah,
Arms,
American Racing
American
Series.
Race,
Yeah,
or the
down
Heartland even
Missouri.
the same
Yeah, there's
same
two down
same
there.
kind of concept.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a cool little tour too. Because the cool thing is too is like I don't know about you guys, but I don't care if it's 500 or 1,000 or $5,000 one. Those races, I just hope they have big checks. Because if you can pick up a win, I like the big checks. It could be signed priceless, but I just like the big checks. So I think that'd be cool if they have those series. Just make sure I hope someone listens to this and is like, we'll make sure we got big checks.
That's
Trenton
Yeah.
Berry,
yeah,
you're
Trenton Berry,
listening.
if you're listening, big checks.
Pictures
You
of some
can
big checks.
pay them a little less, but get those big
Just get
checks.
the big checks.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cardboard's pretty cool. The big ones are
It
Right,
good.
is.
right. You can hang them on the wall. No,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's like that's like my one goal in racing is to eventually win something with a cardboard check. I don't care where it's from. I remember I went to Lansing last year for one show, and Otomo's Towing was giving out cardboard checks. I'm like, God, I just want to win a cardboard check. Like last year when I won my feature at Deer Creek, I'm like, maybe I should just take this to Featherlight and be like, can you just make this make this into a big
Good.
check so I can hang it on the wall? But
Yeah.
Darwin, question for you. I had one in here. Is there one car that you've built, I don't want to say in the last 30 years, but maybe in the last 5, 8 years, whatever, since you've been building your mod, is there one that like stands out that was better than any of them? Like, is there one that you're just like, God, this thing's got a lot of traction, this thing steers nice? Just is there a car that sticks out?
There is. I had an orange and black one, and it was, uh, I don't remember, it had like neon orange and black and had a tall cage in it. Um, I had I think an El Camino clip on it, you know, and that thing was, I could just drive the shit out of it. It was tractioned up all the time, and the heavier it was, the better it was. The thing was always really good. I mean, it was funny because I think it had like a 45, 48-inch cage on it. It was huge, you know. And that car was good, and I never built another one like it, but I keep wondering why I haven't yet. I just keep changing stuff. I should probably go back to what I did, you know. But
I will
Right.
that
say
car was cool.
I drove Ryan Lightnum's B mod at the Fall Jamboree last year, and outside of his crate motor not running right, that was one of the best driving modifieds I've drove. I mean, steered in on the gas, stuck through the center, stuck off. I'm like, this. I was like, damn, some nights this feels better than my modified coming off the corner. But I don't know if it was just because it had driving a crate motor and it was so
Yeah.
hooked up. Man, it steered it steered so well and the way it transferred weight off the corner. I come off and I was just grinning ear to ear and I was running like crap. I told her, I'm like, dude, you got a good hot rod here.
I,
You just
I
need to get the engine running right.
I remember you
I,
pulling off and you're like, that thing steers so good.
Mhm.
I
Did.
Yeah, I
still
mean,
remember mine.
I try to
Mine
spend a lot of
started.
time on the front end, you know. Geometry is everything, you know. And like for me, you know, I'm getting older. It's like it's got to be as good as it's got to turn really well, you know. I always said if I put somebody young like you guys in the car, it'd probably be a winning car. But it's just me, you know. Like I said, I'm getting older. I'm just in it for a good time now. I just have a lot of fun with the sport, you
I
know.
know
Nice is
my
watching
car
you guys.
steered nice.
What's that?
I said my car steered nice. I know the one I had from you was an older one you built, but that thing still same thing. It steered awesome, had traction. It's still actually the best car I've ran. I ran the best in that car.
So I won't name names here or chassis brands, but I think it's kind of funny. You got some of these guys that are buying these $40,000 B mods, and I was watching down a couple weeks ago at a race, and it's like they get in these brand new cars, they're gonna go out and do everything, and you watch these guys, and they can't turn the race cars. The cars are so traction up and they're so damn tight, and they can't turn these race cars. I watched like three different guys in brand new cars at Lucas Oil and they go in and they're just shoving the nose like this. It's like your car still has to steer. You can spend all the money in the world and put all the traction in the rear end, but it still has to steer.
Yeah, yeah, it's got to get through the corner big time.
Right.
Yeah, you
But
have to get in to get off. That's rule number one of dirt modified. You gotta get into the corner and turn rotate.
yeah,
Yeah, because everybody's fast on the straightaway. It's just got to get through the corner
Exactly.
well, you know.
We're not
right,
drag racing, it's cornering at this point. So
right,
Oh, it is nowadays. That's it's so, and that's where the cars are now. I mean, it's so corner dependent. You know, they're all fat. Like I said, they're all traction up nice. It's just
mhm.
how good can you get in and get through, you
right.
know, and then still be not spinning off or sideways or whatever tight. You know, you just got to come off so straight. So I think the cars seem to be a little tighter nowadays than they used to be. I mean, you're on the gas through the corner more, keeping them turning. You know, steering the car. But I
Mhm.
think that's just where we are now.
I watched uh I watched a lot of races from the infield at Fountain City last year, watching Zach and Parker on the modifieds, and you can really tell, especially from the infield, just you know how it is. You've watched race from him. You can see a different vantage point of how a car enters, and you get a different perspective on things, and you can really tell them guys that are just a little bit better. Like for example, watching Brandon Davis enter into turn three at Fountain City. You can watch from the infield, and it's like these guys look like they're entering in hard, and then Brandon can enter in a car length deeper every time, and he's just can ent and that's where they like you said everyone's got traction down the straightaways, but it's that half a car length on entry. I can drive in just that much deeper, and I think that's where your Brandons and your Jims and your guys like that. I think that's where they're beating everyone is just on corner entry.
Right, right. You know,
Yeah,
everybody gives me shit about slowing down because I mean, I don't know why I do it. I'm lucky the car traction's up good and has good straightaway speed because I'm so bad getting in that everybody just eats me up getting in. It's like, oh my, that's where my biggest dump. So I got to work on that a little bit, but we'll keep trying, you know. So
That's all you
oh,
can do.
yeah, yeah.
So would
No,
you
it's,
be, Darwin, are you open to building more race cars if guys were approaching you? I mean, is that something you're open to at
I
this
would
point?
do it. You know, there's a couple guys that have asked, and I mean, I at 1 year I built like 4 cars, and that was a lot. Would I build a couple? Yeah. I mean, I still enjoy it. I built a street stock or hobby stock this year.
Yeah.
That was the first one I've ever done. Interesting, more work than a modified. Too many rules, you know. So
Really?
we'll see how that goes.
great frame rules or what like I guess
Yeah, there's more frame rules. I mean, you got it. The cage has to be in a certain spot. The roof's got to be, the halo's got to be the same, the right size. The offsets and the cage is different. I mean, they really got them clamped down on a lot of rules on those. Or modified, you can do whatever you want. Be left,
Right.
right, top. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, I guess that's good because once you start opening up the rules, it just gets more expensive for everybody. So,
Correct. I think that's kind of um I think that's what's hurting racing a lot is just it's getting so I mean motorsports have always been expensive, but really in like I feel like these last like 8 to 5 years, it's just really opened up. I mean, especially modifieds have always had big spendy engines and whatever, but really in our B mod stuff, I mean, the money these guys are spending is just stupid. I mean, like I said, there's guys buying $35,000 B mods, and we race for $350. It's crazy.
yeah, I don't understand. I mean, the chassis, I don't think any chassis is worth 40 grand. I just don't. There's not that much cool stuff in the metal of just the chassis. Now, when you start bolting, the shocks are where it's at. So, I mean, that's where the big money's coming now. The technology is pretty cool. I wish they could rein that back in, but I think they've let it go so far now they can't. I mean, you
Mhm.
just can't. So
yeah, they open up a
that's
can of
where we
worms.
are.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you do your own shocks, Darwin?
I do now. I bought a dyno a couple years back and been
Yeah.
doing my own stuff the last few years, you know, so I'm still working on it. I mean, I'm not great at it, so I just sit on a dyno and just wreck shit for fun until it works, you know. So I don't know. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I'm just trying, you know. It's interesting. So
What kind of shocks are you running on?
I got AFCOs and Integras both. I mean,
Okay.
you know.
Do you do any, is it just your stuff or do you customer stuff as well?
No, just do my own stuff right now
Yeah.
because I don't need to get blamed for somebody else having a bad night on something I
Right.
did. So I'm good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not that smart yet. So,
Isn't that crazy after, 35 years and you're still learning?
oh God, there's, every year I keep thinking these cars can't get any faster. They can't do any more to them, and they do. And it's something new and something cool. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's any end in sight. We're getting the late model technology is so far into the modifieds now. It's getting insane, you know.
But what gets me, Darwin, is there's track records that are still held.
Yeah.
The guys 10 years ago on older technology, older shocks, just different setups.
Yep.
So if we're spending all this extra money to go faster,
Right.
why are we not breaking? I mean, not saying it doesn't happen. Why are the track records not getting broken by
Every
a
night.
half in a sec every night?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's so minute when a track record gets broke. It's not,
Yes.
I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not a lot of times it's not half a second or a second. It's
Right.
like tenths, that it gets broken. So it's
Yeah.
like that you spend so much more money to get the car to handle better. Maybe that's corner entry, but I don't know. That's come up a couple different times. Just like, why doesn't it get broken further? Like, in like a matter of seconds over tenths or. I wonder what where am I going with this? I'm kind of
Well, the
scatterbrained
whole
now.
thing, the
I guess
whole
why
thing,
isn't it broke farther than it is what I don't get is how if we're going spending that much more money to go faster, but the lap times really aren't that much faster.
What I feel like for me is the tracks have lost a lot of grip and the tires have gotten a lot worse. They're not as rubbery. You know, when you grind them, it used to be rubber. Now it's kind of dusty, but not really as good a tire, I don't think. So I think we're spending, Deer Creek, we used to get around there and, 16 fives on a good night, 17-ish. Now you look at a mod feature, 18 fours, 18 twos, 18 threes. It's slowed down so much that it's a momentum racetrack now. So I think that the money's getting spent with the shocks to get that. I mean, you're not any faster, but to be more consistent through the corner, and I think that's where it's at. But I think a lot of it is the tires and the tracks have just gotten worse. I mean, dirt costs money. The clay is not like it used to be. So I think the tracks are just getting more slippery. I mean, you look at Fountain City, it's dirty early.
hmm
Um, it slicks off. And then later on at the end of the night, it's not really hammered down. I mean, gripped up. There's no big cushion on top. It's just momentum. You're just cruising. At the end of the feature, nobody's going real fast, but they're not slowing down as much, I think,
Mhm. No,
Um,
that's a good point. It goes back to like I think of Cade Dillard at the big deal last year. How he literally seemed like he kept the same pace throughout that whole
He
100
did.
laps, if
Yeah.
not went
He
faster
he
towards the
was
end.
he ran
I
faster
that
laps at the
blew
end
my
than he did
mind.
at the start.
That blew my mind how consistent he was over the course of that whole 100 lap feature, even after the break. I think the track got faster that night though too, because if you guys remember the fog rolling in or like the
hmm
air
The
got
moisture
heavy.
coming
I
up,
think the track, I
and it
think it
cools off.
dropped throughout that race, and I think that's probably part of it. But
yeah,
I felt like think of Deer Creek last year at that topless race. I love when Deer Creek has moisture
Moisture.
throughout the heat
Absolutely.
races
yeah,
through the feature because it was like the heat races were elbows up, guys were sliding the shit out of each other, but it was clean because they had something to
yeah,
get a hold of, and it's like that was one of the most fun weekends I got to watch was that weekend just because of
yeah,
how the track was. And the fall jamboree can be the same way. Usually
yeah,
they get a little bit of rain earlier in the week, and then they get the track packed hard, keep moisture in it, and it races awesome. It's just
yeah,
that so yeah, tracks, tires, yeah, kind of all comes into play, I guess, when you think about it.
If this
yeah.
makes it out to Cole Queensland or Mike Sorensen, please bring back the topless. That was one of the most fun races I think I've ever been a part of. And I got shit torn up on Saturday, but that was such a fun race. I thought, did you race at Darwin?
I did. It was a good time. I thought it was interesting. I didn't think the cars were way different, but
But
it
they were
was it was
different
fun.
enough.
yeah, different enough to make it fun. It was a
Yeah.
challenge, you know.
It was,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I thought it was, it was at the end of the year. It was like I took my roof off. I'm like, after this race, I'm done for the year because I'm not putting the roof back on. But I thought that was such a fun way to end the year. It was something a little different, and I thought it was a really cool deal.
yeah. Yes, I hope to
And
have some
also,
more. I mean, just throwing some specials out like that is just fun. Where it's just not
Mhm.
the same old thing, you know.
Right. Just something different. Sometimes, yeah, it's just like you said, just something different.
Yep, yeah.
But um, yeah, speaking of. So you said you're gonna run this tour. I guess other than running that tour, is there any other racetracks you're planning to hit that might not be on that tour or might not be Mason City, Fountain City? Is there anywhere you're planning to travel, far away this year, anything like that?
I don't know. Maybe Lakeside again. You know,
Yep.
not I-35. That's a little not to my liking. Lakeside's a good time. Maybe Humboldt once, just because it's I don't know, small, fun.
Yep.
You know, up north, the Granite City deal. I might want to try that because that sounds interesting. You know, just something different. Um, I don't know. I don't really know. I guess
You
we'll
don't have
see.
a
If we get rained
plan?
out somewhere and I get bored, I'll just take off.
Right. Would you say as you get older, Darwin, does racing get any less fun for you or does it get more fun? Does it get more enjoyable?
Racing's never not fun. The work to get it there every week, that's not fun. You
Right.
know, it's working on cars. If I work on cars at a shop, 50 hours a week, and then pull another 40 hours a week on a race car. So that gets a little old, because I'm not young anymore. Where it was like, hey, this is so exciting. Now it's like, shit, I gotta do tires and shit. Fuck, I don't want to do that. But I guess I still enjoy it. So otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Right. One thing I've
Like I said,
always
what's
one
that?
thing I've always admired about you, Darwin, is there's a lot of nights where you don't necessarily have the greatest nights. Some nights I've seen some nights you get wrecked and you're coming off on the wrecker and I see you walking through the pits later and you still kind of got a smile on your face. You're just like, oh well, we'll get it fixed and we'll try again. I mean, I think that's pretty admirable. You
You
don't
know, I,
some guys kind of bitch and moan and got my shit torn up and I just feel like you've always kind of kept a good attitude. Like we're still at a racetrack having fun. What's better than this?
Right. I mean, what else is better than that? You can't do it on the street and you still get to hang out with your friends, right? I mean,
Right.
no matter how bad, as long as you don't get hurt, who cares? The cars can get fixed and you're going to spend the money to do it anyway. And it's just supposed to be if I'm not racing, I want to enjoy watching you guys race because you guys race, watching you guys is fun. I mean, the young guys are awesome. I mean, fast up on the wheel all the time. And, I admire what you guys do every weekend. It's just fun to see.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely the pace that everybody races at nowadays, it keeps you on your toes. I feel like in the last, like I said, the last 10, 12 years, I mean, racing's really just real the style of racing's really changed. I feel like you really see it especially in like the late model stuff. We had Devin Moran on here and we kind of got talking with him about that like the slide jobs and just the style of racing has changed so much in the last 10, 12 years, I feel like.
Mhm. It has. I mean, the slide jobs are, with everybody being equal now, how do you pass somebody without that?
Hmm.
You got to shoot it out there. And sometimes it's awesome to watch, and sometimes it's not so cool when they get piled in the door and over a wall. And it's like, huh, well, that didn't work out good. So it has its place where it's awesome, but then sometimes it's like somebody needs to have their ass kicked too, I guess. So.
Yeah.
There's a few
Yeah.
of them around.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like we've all been on the shit end of the stick and
Yep.
given shit. I feel
Right.
like we've all
Yes.
been there.
Yeah.
So
I still when I think sliders, I still think of about 2018, 2019 fall jamboree with Parker and Dan Hubden.
Yeah.
it's
Parker
about
Parker and Dan Hubden were throwing slide jobs and they both ended up piled up and that was kind of a that was
that was
kind of a
that was 100% my fault, and I did not try to wreck him, but it was one of those like slid, got tight, tractioned up, and then my right front ran
right in
right
this
into his rear. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna, yeah, not intentional. And then we were drinking beers and playing beer
yeah,
darts the
the
next
next
year.
year.
That's about it. It was like, oh, but yeah, I've Yeah, I think there's only one time I can think of where I took an intentional swing at a guy, and it was last year. I won't name names. Um, but it fucking pissed me off. We were racing around the top at Mason City, and last
Oh.
lap, I think I was fourth, and got just fucking put into the tire. And I went next corner. I'm like, you fucker! Like I'm stuffing your shit.
I
And then
just
I felt
remember.
so stupid. Like my blood pressure went up. I was mad, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Now I gotta handle this. And then I ended up apologizing, even though I got the shit end of the stick.
Yeah,
But I didn't even wreck it here, but
I
yeah.
won't say his name, but I just remember I was sitting in the top of turn one in the grandstands with my fiance, and I just remember, yeah, Park was running like third or fourth, and it was like April like 8th, like it was early in the
It
year,
was
like
the
everybody's
first
shit
night,
was
I think.
yeah, it was
Mhm.
first night. Everybody's shit was really clean. Like, there's no need to be stuffing someone in the wall for fourth place on a Sunday night at Mason City. And I just remember, like, when I watch my brother, like, I get nervous when I race, but when I watch Parker, I'm like a whole nother level nervous. I remember I was just seeing red. I was sprinting through the grandstands. I remember I ran all, because I had to run all the way through the pits, and I didn't realize they were teching in in the infield. So I ran to this guy's trailer, I was just pissed. And then I'm like, shit, he's not here. And I ran all the way up, came down turn three. And by the time I got there, they already had it all settled. So I'm sitting here pissed off and I had to calm myself down in the infield.
And I always feel stupid when I get hot-headed because I get revved up, but I can always usually calm down pretty quick most of the time. But that, yeah, I was like mad for 30 seconds, and then I was like not mad, but I roughed his shit up after the checkers and got yelled at on the receiver. But I think that is the only time I could think of that I've intentionally tried to mess someone's shit up. But I won't, I can't say I won't, I yeah, I just it's not worth it because it's too much time, too much money.
Too
And it's
much
like,
time and money.
chalk it up. Your shit got, a little messed up. Just take it to the next week. But it's too time consuming and expensive to intentionally do that. But it sure sucks when you're on the shit end of the stick because it's just like why, But it's one thing when it's a clean slider, like you said, Darwin, and someone slides you to pass, and you
Yeah,
have time to turn down and maybe even get
yeah,
them back next lap. That's fun racing. But like
yeah.
when you gotta like wash up or get your nose drove through and end up in the, it's like what the fuck, you just get you just
Yeah,
get
it's like, what
bad.
are you doing, man? Why? And
Yeah.
then it's always like, oh, I don't know, I didn't see you there. I didn't mean it.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Well, fuck
yeah,
you did. You knew exactly what you were doing. You weren't fast enough to clear my nose.
I hit
yeah,
the rut.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hit the rut. Yeah, nose got tight. It's like, nah, I fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you get yelled at that point, it's like, hey, I screwed up. I'm sorry. It's all you can do. Just admit.
That's one
Yeah.
thing I will say about racing nowadays is like my dad always kind of taught me like if I'm in the wrong or if someone else is in the wrong, I should either get my ass chewed at the racetrack or I should chew their ass at the racetrack. But nowadays, so many people go to Facebook and just bitch and whine, and that is one thing that just does not sit well with me. Like if you've got a problem with a guy, especially when it happens, like I said, if it happens that night, go
Yeah,
talk to him after that race. Like you said, what the hell, dude? Like what's this about? Don't let it. I feel like some people are like they don't say anything and then they wreck you 3 weeks later. Oh, this is from a month ago. Like, don't be that guy. Don't go and bitch on Facebook or don't settle it now. That's kind of my whole thing. If you got an issue, resolve it and then like you said, drink beer with the guy a week later. Like, just be done with it.
Yeah. The dog shits in the carpet. You don't wait till next week to rub his nose through it. Fucking do
right,
it
right.
right
Right
now
now.
and get it over with.
But Darwin, I
Uh,
wanted to ask you here, get a few more questions from you. Who was kind of like who was kind of like that guy for you growing up watching racing? Like who was that guy you kind of looked up to? Like I want to be a race car driver because of him. Like who was kind of like your idol growing up watching racing?
Well, I have to tell you, it was Daryl's Weefel, really. He was a character. I mean, I don't know, bending every rule they possibly could. Back then everybody was doing just the weirdest shit. Um, I guess it was him. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know a lot of. I mean, I didn't know a lot of guys back then. I knew Daryl and Donnie, and like I said, the ones I knew, Nobles and stuff like that. But that's what got me interested. I mean, interested in what they were doing with what they had because they didn't, back then it was a Camaro chassis with a 1-ton truck rear end and the thing, with a big block shoved in it, and that was it. That was our late models. It's like, wow, this thing's kind of a piece of shit, but kind of cool that you put it together, what I mean, stuff like
Right.
that. So I think that's why I kind of get interested in building cars because it's an interesting thing to take a pile of nothing and make it into something that races. Um, Nowadays, you guys are my idols. That's it. Yeah.
Well, you could definitely, you could probably definitely find some better ones than us, Darwin.
You guys do really good. I mean, you guys, you're very fast and very clean. Um, I wish I could get up on the wheel like you guys, but I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what,
Stupidity. It's
man up or
stupidity
something.
a lot of the nights. Not,
Yeah.
yeah, it's stupidity a lot of the nights. You run up at the wall at 80, 90 miles an hour.
I
It's
tell
like
you
you're
what, Darwin, and
wrecking your stuff.
I'm by no means saying I'm old or anything like that, but I definitely, I just turned 24 last week or whatever. I cannot rip the wall down at Fountain City now like I could when I was 16. I just can't, like I think about it more. I think about God, if I shove the nose here and rip the right front off this thing, like gotta fix it and it's gonna cost money. Like I didn't think about that at 16 years old. And like I do understand what you're saying. As you get older, you definitely I don't want to say lose a step, but maybe like Parker said, I'm just not as stupid as I was.
Yeah, for me, I've been injured a lot. I mean, I've broken ribs and concussions and arms and legs, and I've had some horrible wrecks. And I think sometimes that slows you down. You just think about it going towards the wall at 100. You're like, hey, I think there's a brake pedal. I might want to slow down a little bit. So I think that's where you don't really lose a step. You just think about, I can't afford to wreck it. It's a
Right.
thousand bucks plus if you pile it into the wall. You know, my worst fear is sometimes when you're really up on a guy's ass and you're running the wall and you're right on him and he'll turn like a little quick and you're like facing the wall, like, oh shit. And it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I think sometimes the older guys like the bottom a little better because it's just
Mm,
safer, you
mhm.
know. But if you go to Mason and there's a big cushion on top, I enjoy the shit out of that too. So I don't
Oh
know,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. But no, Darwin, we've had you on here for about an hour. I guess is there anything left do you want to say while you're on here?
Well, it's all you young racers. Just keep doing what you're doing. You guys are awesome. I mean, you guys are the sport, the future of our sport. It really is. Us old guys are gonna, we're all like everybody. The old guys before us were gone, so we get to, we're just old, and you guys are the young guys, and you're fun to watch. I mean, just keep enjoying it. I mean, that's what it's a night out to enjoy it with your buddies and get to do something that half the people in the stands wish they could ever do.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Just have a good time with it.
Awesome. Well, Darwin, guys, this is, like I said, episode 18. One of the nicest guys at any racetrack around. Darwin, thank you for your time, man. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon, up front. You'll be up front and I'll be chasing your tails. All
Sounds good, man.
Just don't hit
right,
that
thank you
brake
guys.
pedal. Just keep on the gas. Tell yourself no brakes. Just figure out how to drive that thing on the gas.
Yeah, I'll man up a little bit and try that for you.
Awesome. Well, thanks
All
again,
right.
man. We appreciate it.
Not a problem, guys. Thank you very much. You guys have a great night.
You too,
You
man.
as well.